righty. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the 2021 PGA Championship here at the Ocean Course, Kiowa Island, South Carolina. We are joined by Zach Johnson. Zach opened up with a 2 over par, 74 today. Slower start than maybe you anticipated, but some really solid play in the back. A special moment on 11. Maybe talk us through that.
Well, it was actually the opposite.
Okay.
I got off to a great start and played really, really solid on the back nine. Actually had other opportunities I didn't capitalize on. So I guess, you take the good with the bad. But then my last 9 holes was a struggle. Could have been a lot better because I 3-putted the 8th and the 9th hole, my last 2 holes. But it could have been a lot worse too because I made a couple of saves. Actually, I'd say a few saves that were nice. So maybe it evened out. I feel like I'm playing better than my scorecard, which is good yet frustrating. And I like the golf course. I've always been a fan of Pete Dye, so hopefully I can right the ship the rest of the week.
All right, let's go to Bryce on number 6. Bryce?
Hey, Zach. Bryce Miller. I used to be at the Des Moines Register. We've crossed paths a few times. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. Yeah, how are you?
Good. Thanks. Just wanted to pick your brain a little bit because I know you have some perspectives on Xander Schauffele. I'm in San Diego now, and he's out of there. He's had top 10s in 3 of the last 4 majors, and if he doesn't find the water at the Masters on 16, it would have been 4. And he was number 1 in FedEx Cup points after Phoenix. So he's a guy that just continually is knocking on the door in the majors. 1, what do you see in his game that positions him to be right there? And 2, you've won 2 of the majors. What's it take to get over the hump? And once you do, how does that change perspective?
Well, first, what was the first part of the question?
Just what?
That was a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What positions him to be knocking on the door so often?
Well, he's a stud.
Okay.
I mean, it's if the consistency he shows in the events that are the most trying. If you have consistency in the events that are most trying, you're a stud. And I'm not trying to be cheesy or cliche. There's not an aspect of his game that lacks. Everything's solid. I wouldn't say he's a phenomenal driver. I wouldn't say he's a phenomenal iron player, a phenomenal pitcher, a phenomenal putter. He's really good at everything. Everything. So, there's what sets him apart is the fact that there's no weaknesses, and that's what you see, right? Those are the things that are visual. But I would say, based on the times I've played with him, obviously being associated with him, a couple of one President's Cup that I saw and witnessed and watched a lot of him, nothing phases him in big events. So he has the intangibles. He has the innate ability to embrace the most trying of circumstances. And he's going to win, obviously, a lot more golf tournaments if he stays healthy. He's going to probably put himself in position on Saturdays and specifically Sundays to win major championships. And the second part of your question, to get over it, is really just belief and obviously capitalizing. When it comes down to execution with a talent like that, it's just probably just a matter of time. So if you were to tell me he's going to rattle off, I don't know, a bunch of top 5s in majors for the next 10 years, I wouldn't be surprised. If you're telling me he's going to win 3 or 4, I wouldn't be surprised. It's hard, I'm not suggesting it's a shoe, it's a given, but there's only 4 a year. Ideally, there's only 4 a year. But Xander's going to be in the mix of it a lot.
Maybe one last thing. I don't know if this is splitting hairs and it'll make sense, but what's the mental approach like when you're very, very close over and over and over again, as he has been in the last few years? And then how is that different, if it is different, than when you finally win one and there's some relief, I suppose?
Yeah, my trajectory when it came to the majors was probably a little bit different than some. It was my 4th year on the PGA Tour when I won my first, and I think prior to that, I'd have to go back. You'd have to tell me. Maybe one or two or three top tens in majors, nothing significant. So it's not like I had the experience of understanding what it took in a major necessarily at that point. But I think to answer that question, I mean, for the most part, everybody in this field really, really wants to be here. And so when you have the ability to be in contention, and when I say in contention, I'm not saying, oh, man, he's one shot going into Sunday. I'm talking, the last 4, 5, 6 holes in a major championship when you're near the lead or have the lead. When you're there, it's really just understand, hey, this is why I practice. This is what I do. This is why I'm here. You embrace that moment wholeheartily, and now you don't deviate it from what you've been doing the previous 65 holes, but you have to embrace the moment and trust what you're doing is good enough. You don't have to reinvent your golf game just because I might win a major and I need something different. You don't have to be different. I would say in a major, I would say in a cup, I would say in any big tournament, you don't have to do anything different. You just have to execute.
And last one for me, you just explained and walked through what you need to do mentally on those final holes to be in that moment and seize the moment. Is he mentally wired in that way fundamentally? Is he built for that?
What I appreciate, I don't know all the wiring and the intangibles you can't see, but what I do, what encourages me when it comes to him having the ability to put himself in a position to do that consistently or more as time goes on, is his temperament and the fact it almost looks like he plays emotional golf. Like, in other words, every day, every hole, specifically every shot, is just kind of like a circle. You commit, you hit it, and you walk to the next one. If you hit it good, great. If you hit it bad, okay, it happens. He doesn't get rattled when it goes south, and he doesn't let the moment or the emotions gather, and I'd say fester. So, I think he's a guy that's hard to do. I mean, I don't know if that's just God given or if he's practiced it. That you'd have to ask him that, but I think he has what it takes.
Thanks. Good to
Sure.
see you again.
Let's go to Alex on 9.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, Zach. You
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. You have some better results this year than you've had over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Is there anything you're doing differently? And we just had Duffner in here talking about how he's, at 44 and he's trying to kind of just, I don't want to say play out the string, but that's what it almost sounded like. Hopefully play well enough to win one or two, but basically play out the string until he turns 50, I guess. So what's your thoughts on that type of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always reminded of where I am as far as my seniority on the tour, specifically my age. I mean, I hang around a lot of guys that are young. Well, it's not hard to hang around a lot of guys younger. They all are younger. I mean, with the exception of maybe someone like a Duffner, Jimmy Walker, Stewart, Brian Gay, Ryan Palmer. There just isn't many of us out here anymore that are 42 to 50. So, yeah, I mean, what's going on in my game? I mean, I don't feel like I'm 45 when I step on the first tee. I still feel like I'm trying to prove myself. I mean, that may sound generic, but I am. I'm still trying to prove it to myself, not to y'all. I mean, or anybody else. I'm just trying to go out there and prove that the work that I'm putting in is beyond adequate. I know my team's still great. I know the direction we have is still great. And I frankly don't feel like I played that great. So I guess that's a good thing. I mean, there's been a lot of consistencies in some areas. I mean, if you'd asked me 2 years ago, Alex, what my issues were, I'd have said, man, I'm hitting it awesome. I'm putting like a chump. And right now I've been putting phenomenal. I mean, I don't know what I am. Certainly top 10 on tour and putting. So, it's just a matter of, I think, all aspects of my game colliding and meshing. And I really believe that's in the future. I hope it's this week, but it may be next week. And if it's not that week, then I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But I know 50 is really not that far away, but, man, there's a lot of stuff I can do out here for the next 4.5, 5 years.
Thanks.
Zach, thanks for your candor, and best of luck tomorrow.
Cheers.
Play
Thanks.
well. Thank you.